Okay. This freaking nightmare. I can at least hear the audio. Where did I put the... oh. Okay. Is it streaming? Okay. Okay. Now I got to worry about the chair. How do people do this? I hate streaming so far. Nothing is enjoyable about this. It's like my body has to be in the most perfect position. I have all these dumb cords hanging off my body. Is there an echo? Echo! Echo! No, I'm forcing the echo. Okay, can I... How do people do this? How do people want to do this? Is it just after a certain amount of time when you make enough money then it's just like at that point I'm gonna keep streaming? For free, this is annoying. This is a highly annoying process. Not already. Oh, I forgot. They're gonna weep and gnash their teeth and call out for me to go save them or go do whatever they want. Go be their little obedient slave. I don't want to go up there right now.
There's a nip in the air. Cold won't be good for my crops. Never is.
Nip your head off of your neck if you keep talking to me. Highly annoying process. Somehow I plugged in my headphones.
You already have been told you're not allowed here. Turn around and go back the way you came.
Yeah, let's kick these ethnic people out.
No trouble. All we ask is to look for her.
I don't care what you're doing.
But
tell me.
What happened? You're lucky I don't
Yes,
bust you in
a
jail.
woman.
Now get
She's
going.
likely not using. We are not welcome here.
Is she likely your skin
We will
color?
be in Rorikstead if you learn anything. It's none of your. If that doesn't interest you, feel free to walk away. This is not over.
Is she possibly of your nation and tribe, and you're possibly trying to bring her to justice?
What brings you?
I can vibe with that.
I'm here to buy food, Nazir.
Oh yeah, let's get some... Oh, apparently that's not a skill
Come
book.
to chat with an old
Of course. But plugging in the headphones this morning, highly annoying. Must have did it 7 times, 6 times. And it wasn't until the final time that I plugged it in, kept messing with the actual cord, that it actually picked up the computer audio. So now I'm having the opposite problem. My first live stream, I couldn't pick up any voice audio. And now this stream, I couldn't even hear the game. This is stressful. I don't like this. I don't like any aspect of this.
So what happened at the watchtower? Was the dragon there?
Well, you see, the dragon was there, and we had to kill it because that's the way you start the adventure of life, and you know, that's what I was told by my father when I was on the drug trip.
Dragonborn. What do you know about the Dragonborn?
Well, I think the Dragonborn has something to do with Abraham leaving his home country and becoming more actualized within himself.
So it's true. The Greybeards really were summoning you. You heard the summons. You've done a great service for me and my city, Dragonborn. By my right as Jarl, I name you Thane of Whiterun.
Dude,
It's the greatest
I
honor
wish the
to be my
game would
power.
have
I
specific
assign you
items to
Lydia
give
as a
for
personal housecarl,
the type of character
and this
you are.
weapon from my armory to serve as your badge of office.
And the
I'll
reason you
also
have it in the
notify my
armory is
guards
because it's
of your new
useless.
title. Wouldn't want them to think you're part of the common rabble, now would we?
I still am.
We are honored to have you as Thane of our city, Dragonborn.
It's an honorary title. It has no power. I don't want it. I shun it, actually. Get away from me. Should we bring her out, or should we prevent her from
Jarl
dying?
has appointed me to be your housecarl.
No, you're gonna
Lead the
come.
way.
You will die in battle. So we're gonna continue to play the game on... What difficulty are we on? Master. Highly annoying, but we're gonna do it. Do we want to catch a sermon real quick? No, probably not. Let's just get this on. Let's just do this. We'll come back later and resolve the whole ethnic squabbles.
There's been talk amongst the gods.
It is sort of beneath my role to immediately attend to
Surely that's not possible.
the inquiries of foreigners. I don't really care to jump on that. We have to unlock the power of the previous avatar. We have to go learn Unrelenting Force. The air element, we have to go learn that, and then maybe we can come back and start addressing the people's problems. The avatar has to learn how to actually be the avatar first. I can't just start helping people, right? So yeah, go back to your little ethnic enclave wherever you're living at. And I'm gonna go up to the monks. I'm gonna go learn some forbidden words, some occult words. How was everybody's weekend? Mine was terrible. Terrible in a good way. I just didn't do anything. I just watched Star Trek the entire time. Then we went to Potbelly, which, by the way, first time at Potbelly, that was a very strange experience.
The bannered mare has beds for rent.
I worked at Panera for a year, and to be honest, I never want to go into like a Panera type of restaurant again. I don't want to go into like a sandwich, soup, bread type of restaurant ever again. Die, 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 die. Did I just hear something? No. Like, I never want to... That was a lot of magic to pull that out for 60 seconds. But I went and got the bacon... The BLTA is what they call it. The bacon, lettuce, and tomato with avocado. Which, in my mind, the reason you're calling it the BLTA is because all of those items come on the sandwich to begin with. And the lady was over there. Ooh, the lady was over there asking me like, "What do you want on it?" I was like, "Doesn't it come with bacon, lettuce, tomato, and avocado?" "Yeah, but do you want bacon, lettuce, or tomato on it?" And I'm like, I thought it just comes with it already. So I was just confused by the actual question. Like, I've had moments like that before in restaurants where I'm just like, why am I being asked this clarifying question that doesn't clarify anything? Like, sometimes waiters just feel the need to... Waiters, people at the checkout, whoever's taking your order, whoever's making your food, sometimes they feel the need to be, like, scrupulous and, like, ask you a dozen different qualifying questions just to be jerks. And I'm not saying this girl was trying to be a jerk to me, but it's just like, I want everything that comes on the sandwich. I've never been in here. I know she knows I've never been in there. I know that. I know she's never seen my face before. Right? Or maybe she doesn't know that. Maybe she just thinks I've been in there before and I know how to order in their very esoteric way. But no, I just want everything on the sandwich. And just like the way that they put the sandwiches together, it's like on a conveyor belt. Why is food not made like food anymore? Why is it all like mass produced, or like you go into the back of these restaurants, I'm using air quotes right now, restaurants, these fast food places like Panera, and they're like conveyor belts. They're not restaurants, they're assembly lines. In my mind, the fact that we've turned restaurants into essentially factories, production line, signals to me that the intellect of Americans is at an all-time low. The fact that we had to streamline cooking, something that's already pretty straightforward, right? And you're like, Markel, cooking is not straightforward. I've worked in a restaurant before. It's not easy. Cooking is so easy that we let thousands of ex-felons and other prisoners perform these roles every day, and they get really skilled at it, like after like a week.
You think it'd work?
So it's just the education of these people and the motivation, right? Because the prisoner is, I guess, he's looking for a fresh opportunity, he's looking for a fresh start. He's going to put his heart, his soul, and his intellect into it. Whereas the teenage girl who's looking for her first job at Panera, Starbucks, or whatever, they need assembly line work. They need everything dictated and told to them. Whereas the prisoner, you just, hey dude, go make me 50 burgers, and he's going to intuit and use his intellect that maybe he gathered from the streets or from prison, and he's going to make you 50 burgers. And they're going to be really good. But then you tell the girl, can you drop 10? And she's like, what does it mean to drop 10? You want me to do 10 push-ups? No, you dense fool. I want you to drop 10 hamburgers. But I can't cook that many. Well, why are you on the grill then? I'm just making up a situation. I wish I had the actual Unreal Engine 4 shout right here, because I would just blow him off the mountain. Gotta use our fire bending for a moment though. Okay. I worked with so many people in the restaurant industry, and it's just like, you have a lot of smart people, yeah. A lot of cool people. A lot of dense people though. A lot of people who they can't figure out how to make food, which should be the most simple job that they ever have in their life. Right? The most stressful part about making food is having to make it in the moment when there's like a rush. But somehow most of these new food service workers, they can't even handle like the smallest rush. Like, I'm talking about like the pre-rush before lunch. They can't even handle that. And I don't even know. Why are we hiring mentally ill people in the restaurant industry? Prisoners, yeah, let's do it. Crazy people, maybe. But mentally ill people? Why are we putting mentally ill people in the restaurant industry? This high stress environment where they need to be making things to order in an appropriate way. I don't know how many mentally ill people I worked with in Panera. Like, legitimately mentally ill. I'm not like making fun of them. I'm talking about like, you should be on like disability. If this was, you know, 2023 or 2320 rather, in the Star Trek universe, this person would be like, they wouldn't be locked up, but they wouldn't be working. Okay, they'd be doing something else with their time. I worked with this one mentally ill girl. Her name was Sam. We called her Sam I Am. Because all she could ever think about, all she could ever focus on was herself. Sam I Am. All she could ever talk about with the people over the headset while they're... Yeah, I'm gonna be... after I'm done taking your order, I'm actually gonna leave and go home and maybe enroll for college, but I don't know. Maybe I might go paint a picture. I don't know. Kind of sounded like my Jordan Peterson voice right there. Alright, let's do this. Come on. Come on. Fight back. 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 Oh, you're a coward. You're a coward for doing that. Nothing more cowardly. Yeah, you yield once I... Oh, okay. So I'm a bit mentally ill too. I can't even stand my ground in a battle. Was that the body? Oh wait, what's my magic of, what's my regen at? 50%, which is better than what he's wearing. So we'll let him keep his clothes. Okay, so she seriously took my kill. That is a terrible standing stone. Okay. Okay. A junkie walking through the twilight. I'm on my way home. I left 3 days ago, but no one seems to know I've gone. Home is where the hatred is. Okay, now we have to lock back in. Home is filled with pain, and it might not be such a bad idea if I never. Is this actually gonna come in use? Okay, come on, please, come on. This thing, it's not taking any damage. I feel like she's gonna die here pretty soon, so we need to lock in. Okay. Nothing about this is going okay. I never actually checked my... Who was texting me earlier? What about the Switch? I don't know why the comments are off. So honestly, like, this is another aspect about streaming that I hate, is that how am I supposed to manage any of this? I don't know why the comments are off. I can't even look at the comments. I have no control over that. And according to Steam, there's no one even watching live right now. How is she still alive? So I don't know. So last time Steam didn't even tell me that there were like... Here, come over here. Steam didn't even tell me how many people were watching. So you're not even healed up all the way, and you're... How would it heal? It didn't even tell me how many people were watching last time, and it was like 20 people watched. I didn't know that. I can't see any comments. I can't actually display any of this stuff on my screen. Why is the troll healing? Like... Okay, so we're gonna back out. Let's see if we can... Is he gonna follow us? Okay, can you... So she's like useless. She's actually making this situation more difficult. So, and this is why I feel like the master difficulty doesn't even make sense. It's not even fun to play. I'm just sitting here watching this battle happen. Somehow he's regenerating faster than she can even deal out damage. She won't follow me. Yeah, yeah, please follow me. I am the one that you should be trying to fight, not this fool over here. So they won't follow you out. So neither your companion or the enemy will follow you out. Why is this troll stronger than the other one? This is one of the most annoying battles I've ever been in the game. Please, please. I want to kill you. 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 But we'll let her die honorably in battle. Oh, yo, that made me so upset. This made me so upset. Okay. Okay. I don't know. I might have to bring the difficulty back down because that was just... Maybe it's funny to people, but that is a highly annoying thing to witness. And it's highly annoying to actually have to battle a troll like that, whose health, the health was regenerating faster than we could deal damage. Oh, Markel, you have to back out and choose a different enemy to battle. I want you to back out of life. How about that? How about you keep your little comments to yourself? But Markel, you're just talking to yourself right now. Let's see if we can go steal some supplies from the Confederates over here. Are they gonna let me into the camp? Or are they gonna try to attack? I see he's walking towards me. Or he's just walking. Am I cool people? Am I decent people? Can I steal your medical supplies? Was that it? There's no more?
If you know any true sons and daughters of Skyrim, tell them to head to Windhelm.
Well,
Ulfric Stormcloak
Go
wants
tell the
to see you.
commander. I'm
I'm
sure
kind of
he
here
will
right now
reward
just
you.
to actually,
You mind up your preppers.
you know, I need supplies to get there. I need supplies to get to Windhelm.
Talos guide you.
Talos
Can't
guide
wait
you.
to
You
kill
guys
him
aren't
and
winning.
hear you.
It looks like. Don't worry. Once that part of the story arc comes up, after we're done being Avatar: The Last Airbender, then we'll be a Confederate. Then we'll join the true Sons of Skyrim. I'm not sure the true Sons of Skyrim should be involving their wives in battle, but it's neither here or there. You got these Nordic... Why aren't... No, yeah, the troll won't die. Do you want to just... You want me to just call you on Discord one? And we can just talk on the stream? So apparently I'm so weak I can't take out a rat. A super rat! Here, I'm gonna call you on stream, because... I had no virtue to pontificate on. I had nothing to talk about today. I'm trying to actually speak less dogmatically in general. Let me just try to call this person. Trying not to pontificate so much. Trying to give and receive mercy. Let me... Okay, you're on stream right now. Or at least I think you might be hearable on stream. I don't have you connected to the computer. You're just on my iPad.
I just wanted to say first things first, you know. Thank God for another day. Thank God for another breath.
Amen.
Thank God for protecting. Thank God for, even though we're all sick individuals,
Yeah.
still giving us the opportunity to see the goodness in life and repent and just live better every day.
Okay, that was incredibly based of you to come on and say. Is there anything else you would like to tell the
You know,
to tell the world?
Even though I'm not an ortho bro, I still appreciate the works that everyone is
This here's a
doing
toll
to
road,
better
see?
the world.
You're
Well,
gonna have to hand over
you don't need to be an ortho bro to be
200
saved,
gold if
so
you wanna use our road.
Well, like you said, I don't have the oil. I'm not baptized, so essentially, like, I'm like a Christian boy.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, so like, yeah, I don't want to necessarily be like, yeah, you're definitely a goy, or you're goyim, because you're not charismated or whatever, but, I mean, because I don't want that to necessarily be like Judaism, because Jews are insane, obviously, and their religion is insane, but, no, you're definitely still outside of the nation. I guess you are outside of the nation, but that doesn't mean, you're not a believer. How am I?
And that's what I was thinking at work, because we were talking about, like, you know, sometimes it's too late to, like, if someone were to pass away, you know, certain situations, it's too late for them to go to heaven. I was thinking while I was at work, I was just like, well, let's say hypothetically, right, like, I start going to classes, I'm there for like a year, right, they haven't baptized me, they haven't given me the anointed oil, but let's say, like, I pass away, right, in the midst of all that shit going down, that I'm trying to get baptized in the anointed oil, what happens in that situation? Like, am I still fucked, or is
No.
it, like, they can make, like, a special kind of, like, situation because I accidentally passed away unexpectedly? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that all work out?
No, so when you become a catechumen, you that's the definitive moment that you do enter the church in some way, and that is the... So like when catechumens pass away before their actual baptism or their chrismation, they still receive a Christian burial. So no, you would be inside of the church at that point. Obviously not in the sense of full communion. You couldn't take communion until you finished your actual classes and your education according to whatever the priest is telling you. But no, you would receive a Christian burial if you passed away as a catechumen. And yeah.
So, in other words, like we were talking about that one day, because you were like, Herrera, stop comparing yourself to the dude on the cross. Like, the dude on the cross was like a special kind of like, symbolic meaning. So, in other words, like you just said, like it would really have to be like, not symbolic, but your effort has to be there in order, if you passed away, to be in the church.
Well, it's more like, yeah, the effort, the struggle, the spiritual struggle has to be there, but in order to receive the normative baptism that all Christians receive, you would need to be inside of the church. So there's a normative way of doing things, which would be what you would need to do, and then there's an extra normative way where God can not necessarily... Oh, wow, that was... Okay. That was a bit foolish of me of climbing that. But God can... I don't want to say ignore the rules, but he won't apply the law in its strictness, right? So, like, the person on the cross, the thief on the cross who confessed, right, and his baptism was in blood, that's an extra normative condition. So that's not something that's obviously going to happen for most people. For you, in modern America, you would need to partake of the normative condition of salvation, of entering the church, of healing, of restoration, or whatever. So, yeah, not all of us are going to be in the same spot, obviously, so.
Yeah, so, like I said, like, it's two different situations between, like, I died in a year, I never went to classes, like, I can't expect for the Christians, or, like you said, like, it's really like a coin toss to see, like, if I'm going to heaven or not, or anything like that. But, like we said, if I was putting in the effort, randomly die, then there would be, like you said, that extra normative where they have to make exceptions, or God makes exceptions, because, like you said, like, there's effort shown towards,
Yeah, and I don't want to take that too far, but, like, there have been plenty of, times in history where maybe someone has a desire for baptism and they can't necessarily fulfill that, but, their desire is counted as though they were going to be baptized, right? So there's even situations where, like, if you want to go to church and you physically can't for some reason, God is going to take that desire, that goodwill, and that struggle to want to do those things, and he'll hold them up as if you did do those things. Now, again, you don't want to take that thinking too far, because then you can get into the thinking of, like, any amount of my personal subjective emotions can invalidate the normal things that I should be doing. So you don't want to be like, I have a good heart, I can kind of delay this. You don't want to necessarily do that. But if you were to get hit by a car 5 minutes from now because your life is a vapor and you don't know when you're going to leave, I would think that God would consider whatever amount of struggle you have put in. He's just. He's not gonna be like, well, damn, if you had 5 more minutes, you coulda.
Well, my only question would be, like, because, like you were saying with the case of my friend, right? Like, yes, he may have not been the best of persons, or fucking, like, was doing very bad throughout his life, and, like, his family tried to say, even though he was trying to get his life back together in the sense of, like, OnlyFans and, like, shit like that, like, what is, like, pretty much it had me very scared when we were talking about this, because, like, even though my grandma wasn't very pseudo-religious or anything like that, was still baptized Catholic, but still, like, not religious. Like, I remember when I told you about the whole situation, and you told me about the Psalms, and I was telling her about it, and she like seemed like she didn't even know about any of that stuff. And I think she started to read into it a little bit before she passed. But that's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, God's the judge, right? The only judge. And it's just like, I don't know, bro. Like, it's just uneasy thoughts when it's like, Tim's going to fucking the.
Well, I don't know where I'm going.
The nosebleed. No, I'm just saying, like, I know you're not saying it, but it's like, Tim gets to go to the nosebleeds of heaven. Jay gets to go to the fucking or Herrera gets to go to the outside of the venue.
Well, yeah.
His friend gets to go to fucking Shalom or whatever.
Sheol, yeah.
And it's just like it makes me uneasy. But like what you said the other time when you're like, us Christians, we're fighting to get into heaven every day.
Yeah, and that's the actual thing that you have to keep before you and keep before your mind, is that it's a struggle every day. It's not and I don't think me or any other Orthodox Christian is honestly struggling in the sense of like, I want to be in the nosebleeds of heaven or something. I know you were just saying that, but like our mindset about the kingdom of heaven has to be that we're trying to get in, right? It's a club that we're trying to get in. It's a gang that we're trying to get jumped into. I hate to make it sound like exactly like that, but it's a lifestyle, right? It's something that we're doing every day. It's not a one-time transaction whereby we have like the eternal assurance of salvation just because we read the Bible or because we have a strong feeling about Jesus. Those strong feelings about Jesus or scripture should inspire us to struggle every day. Just to get in, not to, you know, exalt ourselves so that, you know, I'm better than Herrera. You do many things much better than me. Okay, so we're all at a different spiritual condition. We all have different things to learn, and as long as we're imbibing that struggle or we're taking on that struggle, that's the actual sort of indication of whether or not we're going to be making it into heaven. Okay, so for people who didn't necessarily wrestle with this, because again we have that reference in the book of Genesis with Jacob wrestling the angel. Okay, if we're not wrestling with God, I don't mean like we're fighting him, right? But if we're not wrestling with the concept of God, what God wants us to do, our life before his eyes, well then yeah, we're not going to be making it to any part we're not going to be making it to any part of heaven. It's just going to be a lot of our pride, and that's what we're going to experience when we die. So I wouldn't necessarily even be worried for your friend, right? Just pray for him like you could pray for any deceased person, but I wouldn't be too worried about that. I would be worried about
It's like, what does prayer do for someone that's in Hades?
grants them relief, comfort from the torments, the smoke.
So, how is bad, or like these places are bad, but they're not like fucking like.
Well, I mean,
scenic torture, like House of 1,000 Corpses, fucking like. There's probably, like we said, like Dante's Inferno. Like, even though the book wasn't like a real thing, it was more like you said, and like we agreed, like concepts of hell and shit like that.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't even map any of what Dante says onto like the Orthodox understanding of hell, because they're not the same. But God's not sending people to hell for like judicial punishment, right? He's not punishing anybody. People are in hell because of their own free will and their own desire. So the point of praying for people who are already there is just to relieve them of their own self-will, to relieve them of their own desire to scream at God, and to provide them rest. It's not necessarily to get them into heaven, but it's just to get them to be quiet and comfortable where they're at. Okay, and you know, hell isn't necessarily, again, at least in the Orthodox understanding that I've come to be aware of, hell isn't a place, but it's a condition of perceiving God's light as, again, burning hellfire, if we want to use those words, blinding light, darkness even. So like the light of God, if you don't honestly understand it or want it, can be darkness for you. So when we're praying for people who are in those conditions, we're just praying that they would not perceive the light of God as burning necessarily, or maybe they can get some rest from the torments that they're seeing down there. Again, not necessarily that they would be plucked out of there and you know, go to heaven. Air quotes. I'm using air quotes and all of that.
Do you think that there are some people in this world that have walked Earth that have like? Do you think? Because obviously there's people like right that like didn't understand the full like extent to life, and let's say they're a fucking murderer like King Von, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get sent to hell, and they're like, fuck, all this motherfuckers dying down here and fucking hellfire and all. You think that there have been people that realize, like, after the fact, like we said, like, when we were talking about my grandma and, like, how, you know, after they pass away, there's, like, a fight with the demons to, like, go to heaven and shit like that. And, like, do you think that there's been motherfuckers to walk this earth that have died and been like, this is where I wanted to be?
Well, so yeah, and that's why I say hell is like a free will. It's your own decision. It reflects the life you lived on Earth. So there isn't, again, there isn't, yeah.
But in a way, like, does God know? Because like we discussed in many talks, right? If God had made Abraham and Jesus was there watching, right? Because they're all the same, they're the Trinity. If that was the case, then like we said, like, then God sees when he makes us, but then like in the book of Exodus, right, we're all given these choices to make. And God like already knows, but it's like he's still giving us the choice of good and bad no matter what.
No, God's not giving us the choice of good and bad because he never made anything bad. Right? So when we read the book of Genesis, God made everything good, and it's.
But then why did he make darkness then?
Because darkness isn't evil. It's not a privation of some good. It's just a opposite of light particles. It's just a scientific reality. But then there's also a type of darkness that's more spiritual. But what was I about to say? Oh, but God didn't make anything evil or bad and sit you down and tell you have to pick between these two things. I'm testing you, right? God doesn't test people with evil. It's our own desires that turn good things that God made and use it in a depraved sense. I have to wait for this storm to pass because I can't see. But so
do you think that in a way that when the darkness was created, like you said, it was good, then do you think like out of that, based on like God giving everyone the choice, right? Like do you think that darkness kind of like, I don't know, like kind of like COVID, like it spread around and just created like a
I wouldn't say that.
No?
That's all highly speculative. But no, darkness in and of itself is just the absence of light. God created day and night cycles, so this is obviously an intended good, but what we're talking about specifically is moral darkness, right? God has not set before the eyes or the intellect of any man a decision to pick between what is obviously morally good and what God wants you to do and an obvious bad, right? This is why in the book of Job, God sends Satan to do whatever he wants to Job, with conditions and qualifications. But God doesn't go and afflict Job personally himself. It's Satan who goes and does all those things. So, no, God isn't... He knows what decisions you're going to make, right, as a free will actor. And he hopes that you're going to use that free will that he gave you, which is not evil. Free will is not evil. It's a tool. So God is giving you a tool, he hopes that you use it the correct way. He isn't going to intervene every single time that you use your free will in a bad way, because if he did, then you wouldn't have free will. So it's a much greater good that God has created creatures with the ability to discern between good and evil. And yeah, if you don't want to discern, if you don't want to use your intellect, you don't want to use your spirit to decide which way you should go, well then yeah, you're going to go to the place where all the other self-willed people went, right? The kingdom of heaven, again, if we're thinking about like a kingdom in a human sense, it has hierarchy, it has things that go on in it, right? You can't just do whatever you want. So this is the defining aspect of life, is pick which God you're going to serve and serve him. Okay? What were you about to say?
I'm just like, like we said, like, I just really wish that the churches wouldn't have like deviated from each other, but I feel like we said, like, even though you don't like to blame it on the Jews, like, definitely some Jews' fault, you know, definitely like a big, like, room of elite Jews, like we said, like atheists, and I don't think that all the Jews should be categorized as all that at the same time. It's just like, all the rest of them ain't making a good case, like how could we sit here, yes, you're right, even though we don't blame them, right, for the acts that their atheist counterparts or whoever did the discussions and approve things, but it's like they don't make a good case for themselves whenever like Christians or Catholics bring up Jesus or we're celebrating Jesus or just a random day, and they're just like imagine if you were out in fucking Jerusalem right now and you were just being Tim and happy and just spreading the gospel, and these motherfucking Jews just spit on you and were spitting and shit like that. Like, yeah, we're not supposed to act bad and think wrong or whatever, but it's like, they're not making a good case for themselves to be like, yo, fuck them Jews, like.
Well, yeah, and I would just firstly say, the Jews had nothing to do with the schism or the separation of Eastern and Western Christianity. It had absolutely nothing to do with that. That was.
Well, I think that they did have a part to play in when.
Can you prove that historically?
You know, Tim, you're telling me that a new country is being founded right after the fucking American Revolution, and you're telling me that all these white ass motherfucking Christians.
I think you're collapsing history.
Not today.
What does this? What?
World order type shit, bro.
Yeah, but you're collapsing like hundreds of years of history into like one thing. What can you like? And it's just not even the understanding of like the vast majority of people.
Okay, think about it like
which
this.
can
Think about
you
it like
can you
this.
name specifically which Jews were involved in the schism?
Yeah.
Okay, go ask ChatGPT real quick.
All the top rabbis and all.
No, name specific people. Because otherwise, you're committing a sin right now. You're accusing them of doing something you can't prove. Okay, I'm gonna keep talking while you go ask Grok or whatever. But no, the schism was entirely the fault of. I mean, if you really wanted to blame it on someone, you can blame it on, I guess, Pope Hildebrand. I guess you can go blame it on the actual individual people who were doing these geopolitical power plays back then. You can blame it on many of the documents, the forgeries that were coming out of Roman Catholicism back then. But I wouldn't, at that specific time, no, I wouldn't say Jews were involved in any of that. Now at Vatican II, that is what the Jews were doing. The Jews were involved in Vatican II, in the destruction of the Catholic religion as we knew it. They definitely were involved with that. I forget what the actual guy's name was, but he was involved on the commission who essentially reordered or revised the Catholic divine office and the Mass. So no, I would say in modern times, yeah, there is definitely an overlap between you know, the adversaries of Christ against the
It
church.
says right here for some popular Jews back in the 1800s.
The schism didn't happen in the 1800s.
Well, no. Well, we'll talk about what I'm
But
saying.
no, wait, I asked you which Jews were involved in the schism. So can you go look that up?
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't. You're over here again. You're collapsing hundreds of years of history into one thing, and just blaming it universally on one group of people. I don't know if like. I don't know at what point in your Christian life you'll come to understand this, but all people are retarded, all people are evil, every culture is evil, even the Russians are evil, the Greeks are evil, every country is evil, every country has Judas-type people, Jewish supporters, every nationality, every person is going to be tempted with power in the same way. So yeah, the Jews, I would say they have a special focus sometimes, but you know, during the medieval period, I wouldn't ascribe any sort of evil to them because they were just being oppressed by various Catholic countries for valid reasons, right? But no, I would. You can pick. Like, I don't even know what happened in the 18th century in Roman Catholicism. But that I know for a fact that wouldn't have anything to do with the schism that took place 800 years beforehand. So, where did the frost? Oh, okay, so now it's here.
So it says right here in an article that I'm reading, it says that like Pope Benedict XIII during the time of the schism was very involved in Jewish-Christian disputations, such as the encounter of 1379 with Shem Tov, long ass name.
The schism happened in 1054. You're not picking. You're collapsing dates. 1054 is when the Great Schism happened. Which Jews were involved in the schism of 1054? So if you tell me another date after that, that's a separate issue. So we could talk about Jewish interests and other separate issues, but specifically 1054, which Jews were involved in that? As far as I'm aware, no Jew was involved in any of that.
Because Tim, I even found another article relating back to 1050, even a little bit before 1050, right?
Okay.
So like I said, the point isn't because like I keep pointing out, there is people and there are these fucking Jews that are tied in, and you're just like, well, Herrera, this is wrong. Well, like I said, I can't.
Yeah, because you're not being clear in the accusations.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, we figured it out, 1800s to 1300s, and now we're back on the 1000s, right? Year 1050, year 1056, 54, even before that, the 900s. It doesn't change the fact that these Jews are still intertwined with the shit that's going on, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah, I
don't see it as, you know, destructive shit. They're still involved in these religions at these times.
So I would just say that, you know, even on like a highly polemical, like Orthodox debate stream, they wouldn't even make that connection because you didn't actually just prove that. I don't think anybody would actually even just say the things that you just said. So but you can point to individual.
It says high and on the guy from
Which specific Jew in 1054 was involved in the schism?
there is not.
So, this is why I'm asking. I'm not.
We don't need to have that big.
Wait, please calm down. Please calm down. Okay. So when I'll gladly talk about valid things that the Jews have done specifically, but I'm not a conspiracy person. I'm not a polemicist. Okay. When we're talking about the evils of the Jews, okay, it's important to actually be very specific in what we're accusing them of. Otherwise, it undermines everything that we're trying to say about them, all the valid things that we're trying to say about them. So I'm not asking you a debate question. I'm asking you an honest question. You're taking it the wrong way. Which specific people are involved in the Jewish camp, the schism of 1054? And you can't go and say, well, these other individual Jews in other centuries were involved in completely different scandals. That's obviously the case. But when we're accusing people of things, we have to understand that this is something like us being in the courtroom of God. Every word that we say is going to be evaluated and judged. And if we're being unclear in the accusations, or we're just saying, hey, I looked this thing up and I still don't actually fully understand what I'm accusing them of, well, that's not going to look too good for you on the day of judgment. So I'm really just trying to have you be very specific and clear and not conspiratorial minded, and actually objectively refute the Jews. No one who's studied Christian history is going to bring up the involvement of Jews hundreds of years later after the schism and accuse them of actually being the reason. Again, the reason the schism happened was geopolitical reasons within Christianity. It didn't have anything to do with Jewish bankers, or there were possibly Jews behind the scenes doing it. I mean, if there's a possibility of something, we can accuse anything of anything. Okay? I can.
So right here, I'm gonna give you the names. And again, this is on you.
Is it 10? Are you? Is this within even 100 years before or after the schism?
Yeah, this is
okay.
the time. This is coming from the National Institute of Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And so it says right here, Petrus Alfonsi, right, lived a little bit after the 50s, but was a prominent Spanish physician covered in Catholicism from the years of 1100. Became one of the most famous Jewish Christian Paulos, whatever the fuck, of the Middle Ages. Writings bridging to both worlds as he used his rabbi whatever training to debate Judaism from a Christianity perspective. Then you have another man named Rabbanu Jerosham, who operated in Germany right around the time of the Great Schism, where he founded like a different, he is a foundational figure for Ashkenazi Judaism. While not allied with the church, his community relied on papal and local characters, as he was deeply engaged in analyzing Christian culture surrounding around his communities. Then you talk about Jewish scholars during that time of the schism, right in the 50s, talking about Jewish and Christian scholars in the Northeast Europe had emerged in a tense relationship, and Christians' interest in literal meaning of Hebrew Bibles sometimes consolidated in local rabbis for Hebrew, English / literature translation, setting the stage for vital cross-cultural exchange. So we're already starting to see a mix and blend of like Jewish people starting to taint the shit, and you're telling me, no, we need the facts, we need the proof.
Well, so
what the fuck is more proof in the pudding that they're starting to like fuck shit up, like how you were saying like the other day.
Okay, so yeah, that was all almost completely unrelated to all of the issues related to the schism in 1054. So you described a history of Jewish involvement in Europe with Christians, but you didn't actually describe any of the preconditions, any of the reasons, any of the people involved in the actual schism. So again, I get the point that you're trying to make, but you're not making the right argument, or you're not connecting it to the right thing in history. So you can't. So the thing. Wait, just let me finish. The things that you are saying need to be evaluated in the actual context that they're the issue of. Okay, But you didn't name any of the actual people involved in the schism. You didn't name any actual direct Jewish people involved in the schism. So again, I'm just going to say that you're unfairly accusing them of something you haven't actually proved. You can say, yeah, there's this historical chain of Jewish involvement in Christianity, but you don't get from that to the schism. Well, you're laughing, but like what you're saying is completely unsubstantiated, and anybody in the actual Christian or Jewish world that's listening to the things that you're saying is going to be like, he doesn't understand the history of any of this, and you don't. You just looked it up online. So again, you have to go read primary sources. Actually accuse the Jews of what they were doing in history, and not just vaguely, hey, look, they were doing talks with one bishop over here, so thus then therefore the schism. That's an absurd take.
Thus therefore this.
And I mean, I'm not like trying. First off, why is this word not loading in? But I'm not trying to like make fun of you or whatever, or like necessarily be mean, but like
It doesn't seem like you're trying to counter mine.
You're not listening then. You're not listening then.
But what it seems like is you're trying to strengthen what I'm saying.
No, I'm trying to say that what you're saying is completely unrelated to the schism. And I don't know if you're like, you could probably ask, let me just ask the AI.
Let's ask ChatGPT.
Because you're not really understanding what and again, this is why I think, or why I keep telling people that like, people don't know how much they don't know. Like people think that you can go like find something online and then like just prove whatever point that you make, and this is like a highly intellectually dishonest thing to do. Okay, and I'm not trying to be mean to you or whatever, but again, if you think about God judging you for every idle word, every careless word that you speak, right, you probably wouldn't laugh, right? Or at least you wouldn't have the response that you have when I'm always trying to tell you, hey, you don't actually fully understand the thing that you're talking about. Okay, the schism in 1054, I don't know any academic, any historian, any priest, or any layman who's going to immediately say, well, actually the first reason is the Jews. And then when you ask, hey, can you prove objectively, like, names of people, names of rabbis or other lay Jews who were involved in the schism? Let me ask this. No, don't talk at me, ChatGPT. Let me talk at you. Alright, can you tell me the names of 5 people, 5 Jewish rabbis, 5 Jewish laymen, or bankers, whoever, anybody in the Jewish camp who were specifically and directly involved in the schism of 1054? Can you show me anybody who had direct access to any of the papal offices back then, anybody in the East, any sort of evidence? I want any of it. Okay, it's transcribing, so we'll... Alright, let's see. There is no credible historical evidence that Jewish rabbis, bankers, or other Jewish camps directly caused, orchestrated the East-West Schism of 1054. Historians do not identify Jewish figures as central actors in the break between the Latin West and the Greek East. The people directly involved were overwhelmingly Christian clergy, emperors, church officials. The schism developed over centuries because of disputes over papal authority, the filioque, liturgical customs, political rivalry between Constantinople and Rome, language and cultural separation between the Greek East and West, tensions between the Byzantine Empire and the rising Western powers. The key figures were Pope Leo, Cardinal Humbert of Salva, Patriarch Michael, Constantine, and Frederick. I would also add Pope Hildebrand, but he's more of like 1085. There were Jewish communities living both in Byzantine Empire and Western Europe at the time, but mainstream scholarship does not present them as directly causing the schism or controlling papal policy. If you're asking about claims you encountered online about Jewish orchestration of the schism, these claims usually come from polemics, conspiracy literature, or attempts to explain complex historical events through hidden groups rather than documented sources.
Kind of like the Book of Enoch.
Well, wait. Let's take Enoch's advice. Can you repent? Can you repent of the careless words you just spoke? Because I'll hang up right now if you're not going to repent for it. Because I mean, you just kind of just blew past everything that I just said, and we're going back to the book. Can you take Enoch's advice and say, hey, God, don't remember the foolish words I just spoke 5 minutes ago? We'll say it in your own words. I don't care how you say it.
I just like.
Well, no. Say I repent of being stubbornly wrong, or in your own words. Please say that, because I won't. I'm not going to continue the conversation. Okay. Again, the point of Christianity is not to lie on people. Why? Okay, so we're gonna have to. Yeah, and again, I was not even trying to be rude to him. But is he still on? No, I'm alone in the call. But not even trying to be rude to him. But we're not gonna turn my stream into this polemical lying on the Jews. There's so many more valid things to hate on the Jews about. Right? I just talked about the Jewish involvement in Vatican II. We can talk about that. But this whole let's blame the Jews for everything, it's like a cope. It's a cope for not fixing the world. We can blame the Jews for everything. It doesn't. Individual people in Catholicism or in the East, they didn't have anything to do with anything. It was always just the Jews.
In order to use it in a shout. Well, that is how the rest of us learn from shouts.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and support that.
All of us, Slave Dragon's life force and knowledge.
Okay, if you were on a Jay Dyer live stream, he would have actually hung up on the call. He would have been like, this is brain dead, what you're talking about. And Jay Dyer does not like Jewish influence on anything. So none of like the actual intelligent people in any of these positions are saying, hey, look, I can piece together through hundreds of years of history this incoherent theory about Jews having control over everything. The Jews only have the control that we assign to them. Okay, they don't have a control given or authority given to them by God. Any amount of control that the Jews have over us is because in the modern West, Christians have been giving them that control. Okay, but the Jews back in the day did not have the same level of control that they have today. Okay, the East and West Christians weren't playing that. It's a very scary thing to judge people for things that they haven't done, or even for things that they have done. Lest God judge you. This is taking too long. But I'm not gonna sit here and just laugh at him and be like, oh yeah, everything that you said is right. Oh, everything that you said was very obviously historically incorrect, was based. It wasn't based because it wasn't historically correct. It's not funny to accuse people of things they haven't done. Right? And again, if you're some new baby Christian, you're some type of unbaptized, uncharismated ortho bro or whatever, right? You're doing it all wrong. You need to go to church, and you need to let go of your pride. You need to let go of, oh, I read online that the Jews are actually the problem. No, actually, the problem is going to be you. That's the reason you're not going to go to heaven. It's not going to be the Jews. How many, like, what is this? This is so stupid. I'm about to end the stream right now. But no, don't be online. I'm hating on the Jews because I have to. Or Tim, don't tell me that I'm very obviously wrong. Well, I'm not telling you you're wrong because I hate you or because I'm trying to judge you or something. I'm telling you you're wrong because I don't want God to judge you. There's no point. What am I even supposed to be doing? So I'm pressing the, and then of course it. This is making me upset.
Well done. Again.
And how many times did I ask him, name me someone in 1054, 100 years before, 100 years after, who was directly involved in the schism east and west, who is a Jew. And then what did he say? He said 13, he said something in the 1300s, he said something in the 12th century. Right, well the schism's already been resolved at that point. Or it resolved in the sense that it's a fixed thing at that point. So again, no understanding of like how these things actually transpired in history. He didn't even want to understand. Once I started trying to explain the history, he started doing that little laugh, that little giggle. Right? Because he doesn't want to know what the actual history of it is. He doesn't want to know what the actual position is. He wants to use Christianity for the conspiracy theory. Or he wants to change Christianity into being like Jew hatred. Sir, the Jew that you should be hating is inside of yourself. That's the rabbi, that's the Pharisee you need to hate. He's in you. So I didn't even get to explain all of my rebuttals, and I guess I really didn't even have to because it's just historically ungrounded. Well, why does it need to be historically grounded, Markel? Lest God judge you for lying. How about that? Did anybody ever think about that? Alright, we're gonna cut the stream right here. So I've already been going too long. Okay, but if you're a young Christian man or you're someone who's identifying with Christianity, you have to go actually live the faith in a church. Nothing about the Christian religion is online, right? Nothing about the Christian religion is like debate oriented. Right? And even if I tried to have a friendly debate with my friend, he doesn't understand any of the laws or rules of debate, so it wouldn't even be fruitful. Right? So again, if you're going to read anything about Christianity, you need to go be reading primary sources from academics, east or west, so that you can actually get a picture of these things. And not just, oh, I listened to a polemical dude online. Even like I keep recommending Jay Dyer, and like, I don't even like Jay Dyer anymore. I don't even feel like debate is necessary anymore. At least for me personally. I know for other young men it is a highly sought after thing, because that's the thing that's going to help eliminate their notions of pride. But for me at least, I've already moved beyond that. So for me, there isn't any amount of polemical rambling that I'm interested in. Okay, when I hate on the Jews, it's objective. And it's not because of their race, it's not because of their people, it's because of what they did to Christ, what they did to Europe, what they did to the Catholic Church. But the schism like many other things in Christian history, have absolutely no relation to the Jews. The Jews don't factor in at all.
Now, your turn. Stand next to me. Master Bori will open the
And
gate.
like he can get upset about
Use
that,
your whirlwind sprint to
but
pass through
don't talk to me about the Book of Enoch, right? And miss the point of the Book of Enoch. That God is going to judge sinners for every careless word that they spoke.
Your quick
Be afraid.
mastery
Be
the
afraid of that
Zoom
book.
is,
Okay, okay. Now we're really done. Now we're really done. Shift. Is it Shift Tab? Yeah. Exit game. And then we'll go ahead and.